Hi everybody, Professor Paul here with Advanced Ideas, where our goal is to make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Welcome to this presentation on REBT, the science of programming your mind. This is an amazing course. REBT is one of the key skills in life. If you can reprogram your mind, you can change virtually anything. I'm excited for you, so let's jump in and let's get started. So, what does REBT mean? It means Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy. As you can see, I put a nice picture here of Albert Ellis. He's the gentleman that created it. He lives in Clearwater, Florida, just down the road from me, passed a few years ago. Exceptional man. But what does REBT mean? The R stands for rational, which simply means every time you attack you in your mind, you work against yourself, you're being irrational or insane. And we're all a little bit insane in some ways when we look at our thoughts and say, would a sane person say that, or would a crazy person say that? A sane person always works in their best interest, but we have a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative old programming that's going through our mind, which makes us less than fully sane. Next, emotive. To emote means to have an emotion, big fancy psychology term, means simply to have a feeling. When you're rational, when you're healthy, when you have good positive thoughts, you feel fantastic. And your behaviors change, which is B, behavioral. Your behaviors change. T, therapy. Therapy is simply a system for getting better. I've been a therapist for 35 years. You don't have to be sick to get better, but by doing therapy, you get better faster. So rational emotive behavioral therapy is a system for changing your emotions, changing your behaviors, and feeling better faster than you ever thought possible. Absolutely fantastic. Let's move on to the next section. So, why is REBT great? Well, I'll tell you. It's the science of how your mind works. There's a lot of theories out there. Freudian psychology was a theory. Jungian psychology was a theory. Gestalt therapy was a theory. Rogerian therapy was a theory. A theory is something that kind of, sort of might be true, but we can't prove it. Why? Because it's not a real science. REBT is literally the science of how your mind works. It's a scientific theory like gravity. You can believe it or not believe it, but when you throw a stone off a roof, it goes down 100% of the time. Never comes back up. So it's the science of how your brain works. And by understanding how your mind works, there's virtually nothing you can't change. It also has a 98% success rate when you apply it. It works if you, what? If you work it. That's right, if you work it. So you have to apply it. That's the usual stumbling point. I teach people how to use this, and then they fail to use it and say, ugh, that therapy, that doesn't work. No, it works every single time you use it. Remember, it's a science. It can't fail to work. If I said, walk over to that side of the room and flip on that light switch, how many times out of 100 do you think that light switch would go on? You're right, about 100. So it has a 98% success rate because there's certain things that it won't work on or will only work on partially. And boy, it's really hard to think of an example of what that would be. The two classic things that come to my mind are things that are a little bit unconscious or have a very strong unconscious component to them. So you can't just change them by thinking about it consciously and trying to reprogram. It'll work a little bit, but not completely. Those two areas would be PTSD, and I would also say phobias are the classic one that come to mind. Now, what's also great about this is this can be applied by you. You can do this anytime. It only takes a few minutes. You can apply it to any problem you want. And hey, it's being applied by you. So you don't have to sit in a therapy office and have a therapist going through all your business and dredging up these old hurts and long periods of analysis and weaving through your past to find, the sticking points. This is done by you. It's totally non-invasive. And hey, as a therapist, I think most people are pretty good about listening to me, but here's the one person that you listen to 100%. That's you. You always believe everything that you say. And you listen to yourself, so there's zero resistance, which is the next point. No resistance. Why would you ever resist you changing you? You might do it if I'm trying to do it, but you won't do it if you're trying to do it. Perfect. Now, it's also easy to learn and easy to teach. I can teach people how to do rational motor behavioral therapy, really do a killer job on it, and train them about 45 minutes to an hour. That's amazing. You could go to school for 12 years, do a couple years of internship, and then go out there and start doing therapy with people, and you wouldn't do as well as a therapist that simply specializes in REBT. There's some therapists out there, they don't do any other style. They just do REBT. You know why that is? Because it's one of the only systems out there that's a science. The two science-based systems that I can think of in therapy are REBT and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, another science of how your mind works. Shameless plug, I've got a course on that I'll be creating later, so look for it. Now, getting back to this, it can be used forever. So it's not a situation where you come in and you work with a therapist or a coach like myself, and you deal with a few problems, then you go off, and if you have any additional problems or you think back and say, boy, I really wish I worked on this, you're out of luck? No, you can use this on yourself forever, for current problems, for going through and dealing with past problems, and for problems that you have between now and you die. It's also great for most disorders or problems. So it could be like, worrying too much, or it could be like drinking too much, or eating too much, or smoking too much. It could be things that you need to do more of or less of, or things that you just need to let go of. It works for virtually everything. You're going to absolutely love it. I'm excited for you. And let's move on to the next section.